Hello YouTube and good evening. I would just like to say, for anybody that doesn't want to hear this, and if you want to hear a good positive story, you ain't gonna hear one. So if you're a fan of the theft that's taking place across Dayton, or if you're a demo commie bastard, you might want to turn this video off right now. But anyway, YouTube, this video is about recently there was an article published in a few of the local newspapers around the state about political discontentment. Said around 62% of all Ohioans are discontent with the current political climate, and me and some friends, we're going to discuss the reasons why. And this site that you are looking at, which I'm going to talk about this more extensively in the next video, was a former school site. This was the old Julian High School in the Five Oaks neighborhood. It later became Dayton Christian School campus, and then it later became then it was abandoned for a few years. The residents of this neighborhood did not want this school tore down, and this is basically, taxpayer theft. And of course, them tearing down schools unjustly is a major reason why we shouldn't be happy with the current political climate, and just a whole bunch of stupidity. And basically the two choices that we're left with for president, which Ohio is always the #1 battleground state. You don't win the White House without winning Ohio.
California, and Florida largely.
Yeah, well, Ohio and Florida, but
Can't forget them.
yeah, but
Huge electoral state.
But anyway, YouTube, obviously with the current events that have been happening, with the terrorist attacks, the police shootings, the political corruption, the two choices that we have for president, I mean, we should not be happy, with the current state of affairs, because
Sucker Trump was either a Democrat plant or basically has a fantasy of being able to do everything that he wants to do.
yeah.
And then we got Hillary, who is, well, frankly, a traitor and a liar.
He had traitor and a liar.
Those are the only two main choices we have. The rest are all third-party stuff that, stands very little chance. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see Gary Johnson as president. Is it going to happen? Highly unlikely.
No. And the thing, too, YouTube, obviously between Trump and Hillary, we're choosing between two evils and trying to even decipher what is the less of the two evils.
The answer is to build an artificial island in the ocean and move there.
Yeah, move there, yeah. And the thing I tell you, YouTube, with this, and with the current events that have happened, I mean, obviously, racial tensions, political tension, and other things, terrorism is at an all-time high. So basically, we got two candidates who are basically going to plunge us into a fucking war no matter what. And some of the Democrats, don't be so naive to think that we're not going to get into another Mideast war with Hillary, because they'll ultimately force her into fighting a frickin' war.
Foreign wars so much as domestic unrest.
Yeah, domestic unrest.
Our dollar is, teetering, just barely holding on there, and our economy is on the brink of collapse.
Yep, it is.
Together is the whole mysticism of we're America, we're strong.
Yeah,
we will always be here. Things will always be great.
And then
nobody wants to sacrifice to actually keep things great.
Yeah, and the thing I tell you, YouTube, Dayton used to be known as the Gem City, but as somebody said to me years ago, that all gems break. This neighborhood where the school site was at, Five Oaks, this used to be one of the most prestigious areas of the city. Back in Dayton's heyday, you could tell some of the homes through here are really beautiful homes. I mean, much nicer than the east side, where I live at. So basically, the choices that we got for president, we basically got we basically got a fucking lunatic and a fucking liar who kills troops. So even trying to even pick a choice from that is really hard. And then of course here locally, the mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, which I've talked about that piece of shit over and over again. She is nothing but a Hillary Clinton fucking jack off and wannabe.
Nobody can see you do that.
I know that, but Hillary Clinton fucking Nan Whaley fucking jacks off to fucking Hillary Clinton because she wants to be like her so fucking badly. She is nothing but a fucking Hillary Clinton wannabe. If you guys ever follow the mayor's Twitter account.
Like Bill Clinton.
What?
She probably has her husband dressed like Bill Clinton when they're fucking.
Well, to tell the truth, I don't even think she's married. Nan Whaley's even married, but
she probably just goes and hangs out the mask and picks up butch lesbians.
So, so the mayor, one reason why we should also be content with a political discontent, people here do not want, this mass immigration like the mayor of this town has turned this town in. Although there were previous mayors who helped the cause along the last, I'm going to say 2 to 4 mayors, at least dated back to Ryan McGlynn, which is back in the early 2000s, have tried to heavily promote Dayton as a immigrant friendly city, gay friendly city. Listen, we're not against immigrants or gays, but we have to ask ourselves, why do our politicians want immigrants and gays here so badly? Well, I am going to offer a couple theories, and then my friends are going to jump in. Number one, in regards to the immigrants, there's something you guys got to understand. It's always been about one thing: cheap labor. If you cut off the supply of unskilled immigrants, you cut off the supply of cheap labor. Every immigrant group that's ever came to this country, no matter where they came from in the world, has been taken advantage of for cheap labor ever since this country was founded. And so you people got to understand something. When you hear politicians like Nan Whaley or Barack Obama or just whoever the hell they are, I don't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican, when they say, oh, we want an immigrant-friendly city, like the mayor Nan Whaley said a couple years ago, oh, we'll clothe them and we'll feed them. No, what she's really saying is, we're going to rape you, motherfucker, for cheap labor when you get older. That's what she's really fucking saying. And you see, that has been a major focus of my local videos from day one over the last 2.5 years since I've been covering local videos. I mean, as local issues, is trying to get people to see through, what's really happening. And then as far as the gays go, the reason I think why the mayor is ultimately pushing so hard to get them here is for one reason. And Dayton has been named as one of the friendliest gay cities of the country. I'll say that's true in certain parts of the city, but I personally don't think I personally think in areas where there's more minorities like this, black people are more or less tolerant of gays than whites are. And the reason why the mayor and other politicians especially want them in a city like Dayton, what you guys got to understand too, people, is the schools here in Dayton are horrendous. They were named the worst public schools in the entire state. So out of all the major cities in the state, Toledo, Cleveland, Columbus, Akron, Cincinnati, Dayton public schools were named the worst public schools in the entire state. So therefore, the reason why they really want the gays here is because they're obviously not going to have children. So it's easier to retain them, because anybody that has a family that has any bit of money is not going to stay here in Dayton with the schools.
Send their kids to private schools.
Yeah, they're going to send their kids to private schools because they're obviously not going to want to stay here with what's going on. But my friend can jump in here on what I just talked about too, as far as the gays and the immigrants.
Oh, I have much to say.
Go ahead,
okay.
The floor is yours.
Well, as far as the immigrants go, yes, you're right on the cheap labor, except for the only thing is I've never seen, now you're right as far as non-Muslim immigration, but I've never seen a Muslim construction worker or busboy, so, there's that. As far as Muslim immigration, what it is they're building an army. Plain and simple. It's, you know, if things don't go the way the Democrats want, hey, now we have a bunch of people who are pissed off and we can arm and cause chaos.
Yep.
You know, this obviously presents an issue, and why, you know, a lot of people are against Muslim immigration. And then also for all immigration, it's cheap votes for the Democrats. See, conservatives tend to be against immigrants because of the fact that they bring in things that, you know, aren't necessarily Christian or, you know, conservative in nature, and therefore would, you know, erode, you know, their beliefs. I can kind of understand this. I kind of don't, to a degree. However, at the same time, there is the fact that the Democrats go, okay, yeah, hey, we'll grab you guys and bring you here. Now they feel, because, you know, immigrants aren't stupid. They know who, you know, allowed them to come.
Yeah, they know who allowed them to come, and they know who's going to have their back.
Right, they're going to vote
politically.
For the Democrats. Now,
yeah, most of them will, yeah. Except maybe the really highly skilled ones may sway Republican a little bit.
I know quite a few highly educated Hispanics who actually vote Republican on a routine basis.
Yeah.
Or Libertarian. But as far as, you know, immigration in general, especially illegal immigration, because Obama's basically doing a complete non-enforcement of
now, as far as the numbers that we've been reported to be given, around 11 to 12 million illegal immigrants, do you believe that number, or do you believe that number is much higher than what they we're led to believe?
Estimates. That's the low end estimates. The high-end estimates say anywhere from 22 to 24 million.
Which, in all honesty, I would say...
But that's just illegal. That's not counting legal that's brought in over the years.
Now, my friend who's from California, if you had to estimate where you're from, just how many of them would you say are probably illegal where you're from? And would you say they have more of a sanctuary because California is so Democrat dominated?
Well, it's hard to say, because whether they're illegals and then coming in and having, which is the word, what's the word for that? Where they're
naturalized or anchor babies.
Right, and so the numbers between what is illegal and then being naturalized becomes diluted. And then the numbers tend to, because they are from Mexico.
Because I know where you're from, the estimated population is around 35 or 36 million in California. And probably in California, you probably have, if I had to venture to say, I would say probably at least a third of them in California are probably illegals. But, you know, as far as, getting back to this whole presidential debate, I mean, I honestly don't know what to do, because I personally can't stand Trump and I can't stand Hillary, and trying to even
just do what I
and
do.
Trying to
symbolic vote for who, you know, best represents your views.
And
because who you want ain't gonna win anyway.
Yeah, who you want ain't gonna win.
How South Park put it, a turd and a douche sandwich.
Turd and a douche sandwich.
Sorry, a douche and a turd sandwich. Sorry.
Yep.
You know, we're kind of stuck between those. You know, it's neither one's a good choice. Both is going to end poorly.
Yeah.
So fuck it. Let's just.
Yeah, and the thing, I'll say this much further on. You know, I mean, obviously every major city across the state will vote Democrat, because obviously in a state like this, all the cities are Democrat.
Well, yeah,
dominated.
You know,
I mean,
these large ghettos.
Yeah,
people are indebted to the government for welfare and food.
So
they know who feeds them, and they know who supports those programs.
So they obviously, you know, all the major cities across this state are going to clearly vote for Hillary, because there is paranoia unlike anything I've ever seen. Because I know, like the blacks in particular, as well as other groups. I mean, I don't really hear the Hispanics speak out about their paranoia of Trump the way I've heard the blacks do.
I've heard some.
Yeah, but
most of them are illegal.
Yeah, most of them are illegal. And I tell you something. I mean, of course, we all have friends that are black. That's not an issue here. But we have never seen I don't think we've ever seen, at least during our lifetimes, a candidate where the blacks are so paranoid of, and other minorities as well. But the thing we have to really ask ourselves, what are they really paranoid of? Because obviously the Democrats are going to keep them in utterly poverty, and they're just going to keep voting for them like robots, whether they're blacks, Hispanics, whatever the hell. you know, they are, you know, or whoever. So, you know, there's some major issues that, I mean, and this, and, you know, I honestly hope we don't get into another Mideast war, but I obviously see it, you know, being something that we're obviously not going to be able to avoid, because ultimately, between Hillary and Trump will be all too eager to fucking fight them. Hillary, they may have to bomb somebody to get her to fight, but eventually...
No, Hillary will fight.
Hillary?
There's money in wars, dude.
Yeah.
Every time we've had a war, we've been economically prosperous. When we're not at war or under extreme threat of war, like the Cold War, you know, we are, you know, we tend to stagnate a bit. You know, we tend to not be,
not when it's under political, like, we'll say a blanket for identity of a political party. Just like at this time. You see there is a war going on. We're fighting ISIS. But while fighting ISIS, where there's not this big call to go to war, we just have the military in small groups in various countries. You know, but until it gets to this flashpoint to where if it gets out of control, you know, to where it's full-fledged, then, you know, it'll differentiate. But other than the fact that that's happening, the political, I think, in my opinion, the political arena does need balance also. You can't have too much liberalism consecutively in terms of the president's, the presidential, you know, not the nominee.
Yeah, and you know, plus the other thing we're going to discuss too is some of the stereotypes too, as far as, you know, a lot of the people that
has to do with money.
Yeah.
And we have to bolster GDP, and that's no coincidence that when we get too big, just like when Bush was in office, that there's a collapse. But then it's quote unquote regulated with liberal, you know, political party, because it is like the WWE, you know, it is an act. And so, like I'm going to tell you this. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump is going to get in, because there's things that are happening that require there to be a political identity, a balance of identity.
And yeah, and the thing too, YouTube, you know, you have a lot of people that are. I'm not
going to speculate on who's going to win.
Yeah.
The puppet master.
Yeah, puppet master, and the thing I'll say this much too. We have a lot of class warfare too. You know, there pretty much is becoming to the point where the middle class is becoming extinct. You're either rich or you're poor. They're the you know, the in between, like where we're at, in the middle of this field, there is no pretty much in between anymore. It's either one side of the field or the other. So, you know, we've had a lot of stereotypes. You know, some are true, some aren't. You know, like for the most part, a lot of the Democrats feel that a lot of the people that want Trump in office are basically just a bunch of malcontent, you know, white voters who are more on the lower middle class spectrum. I don't know how much you guys buy into that credence or not. You know, but that's a common stereotype. And of course,
I know a lot of people who are on the lower class and lower middle class white people who love Trump.
Yeah.
You know?
I think people as you know, white people as a nation are starting to. You may have had people that want to change because of, we'll say with all the wars going on. We did our job. We did it. We had to get out eventually. Of course, there's going to be this terrorism, and it is a political tool on that side of this world. But here's the thing: is they start to notice when you see all kinds of what is disgraceful type politics, as what's been happening. Not to mention just, I mean, you'll keep things under wraps and keep it, like we'll say, have a safe face, but at the same time, it is demoralizing the actual people who, in my opinion, stem from the very beginning roots of this nation of ours, which basically gave the world what it has.
Yeah, that's true. And I tell you something, you know, we're at a major crossroads in this country, because every election, it just seems to get, you know, worse. Like it's always trying to pick between the lesser of the two evils. I think ultimately the Democrats, for the last 2 or 3 elections have ultimately got the candidate they want, but the Republicans really not so much. But you know, but we're obviously fighting a class warfare and a cultural warfare, because I mean, you know, we're getting to the point where, you know, people are using the word bigot and racist way too, you know, loosely. Like all of a sudden, like if you're against gay rights, all of a sudden you're a racist, you're a bigot. That simply is not true. I mean, the chaos that has taken place, you know, over the last, especially under this current administration with Obama, is just unreal. I've never seen people attacked, you know, the way they were. I mean, we never had, you know, the gays have always been around for the last 45 or 50 years in the forefront, but it was never to the point, you know, where, you know, we're to a point in this country where everybody acts like somebody owes each other something. And this whole thing with this whole, you know, gay agenda is just radically out of control. You know, like they feel that that their feelings are so hurt if somebody refuses to get them service. I got news for you, people. We have the right to refuse service. Let me tell you something, people. I don't care whether you're what color you are or whatever. That would be like basically, you know, forcing a black person to you know, that, say for instance a KKK person comes into their donut shop or the business. Do you honestly think they're going to serve them? Do you honestly think, you know, back at certain times in war that like the French and the Germans would have been so friendly to have served each other back in World War II? So it's, you know, we're falling onto very dangerous territory in this country when we start talking about, you know, you have to serve this person, you have to serve that person, you have to give that person rights. We'll get it. I mean, we're falling onto very dangerous, you know, ground in this country, and we've really opened, you know, Pandora's box as far as, you know, what we've allowed to happen in this country. So, you know, we've opened I mean, the Supreme Court has clearly, with the whole gay rights thing, opened Pandora's box. And this is going to continue for a long time. And it's like, you know, you have like various things like these companies that say, you know what, we ain't going to serve you anymore, or you're a bigot if you don't, you know, give us service, and vice versa. You have the right to refuse service, people, for no matter what it is or what you are. Nobody can take that away from you. No legislator or court can make you do it. And obviously, my friend, you want to jump in on that part right here, and then we're going to get ready to wrap this one up, and then we're going to do one more here.
Oh, want to join in?
I want to grab a beer.
Okay.
I'd say you summed it up pretty good, man.
Yeah. Well, all right, YouTube. Well, that's going to be it for this one. We're going to do one more quick video, then we're going to get out of here.